players and also veteran players and young players. I'm excited. I think everybody's excited to watch and see how the team comes together through the year. I think this team has a significant amount of discovery, within it in terms of just learning about the new players that we have and how they fit with the existing group. And I think it should be really exciting to see. I think when we look at a season over the course of the 11 years we've been here, our best work has always been when we focus on process and not just simply outcome. And I think for the majority of the time we've been able to do that. So taking an 82 game, approach, making sure that, we're not using all the bullets on Monday night at the expense of Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, but really being intelligent about how we manage the year. Watching the development not only of the individual players throughout the season and their pathways to improve, but also the development of the team. Those are going to be the focuses that I think are going to be important for us to optimize this season. Obviously, we say this all the time, and it continues to be the case. Like, what we want to do is be playing meaningful basketball at the end of the year. We want to try to do everything we can to put ourselves in position to optimize the group that we have, and there's just no shortcuts to that. And it comes back to the commitment to the process that's in place, and being willing to be patient with that as we go through it, especially with as much change as we've experienced. Last thing I just want to speak to, and then you guys can ask me whatever you want, is much has been talked about, obviously, with our off season, about just the long-term outlook that we have for the team. Nothing has changed in that respect. We're still 100% focused on building the most sustainable path for an elite team in Oklahoma City. Realizing that that's something that eventually we're going to embark on, but we're not where we are. We're not at that point yet, and we think that this season is one that we should really dive into and experience. And I think it'll be great for our fans as well to have some of the guys and get to know some of the new players. But long term, we're not going to do anything that will sacrifice the long-term plan that this organization needs to take long-term in order to build that type of sustainability. And that's something that Clay and myself talk about quite a bit. He is 100% understanding and behind doing something that's sustainable for this organization. And he understands the circumstances and the rules and the system as well as anybody. And that commitment is still firmly there. And I'm excited about both the long-term outlook of this organization, but I'm also really excited about what's in front of us this season and watching this group play together and grow together. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Oh, Sam, just can you give us an idea of the thought process behind the beard?
All right. I have an incredible family, incredible wife, and she has always allowed me a couple days over the summer to get away and clear my head, to generally think about the year ahead and spend time reading and writing in my journal and things of that nature. I went to Vermont and let it go for a little bit, and then when I got back, nobody seemed to have a problem with it. So I just kind of let it roll for a little while. I can't tell you that this is something that's going to be around that much longer, but that is really the story behind it. So thank Vermont.
Well, first of all, great beard, awesome. Second, with such a young squad, do you see having a different approach in the way you approach just the way you develop the players as opposed to in past years, or is it the same Thunder way as usual?
I think that it's an interesting question. I think the team as a whole has a really interesting mix.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a team that has Chris Paul, Gallinari, obviously Steven, Dennis, and so there's some real stalwart type players on the team. That's one of the reasons we're really excited about it. We've never looked at it in our 12 years here. We don't really look at it like young players or necessarily like veteran players per se, as much as like players and how can we be the best version of the team over 82 games. Some players more about because they have a body of work. Other players, you need to give them some runway to understand what it is they bring to the table, and they could produce at a much higher level by game 50 than they could by game 5. But that's the art of managing an 82 game season. I think our coaches, as I said, years and years now, no one works harder than Billy. I mean, he's one of the hardest working craftsmen I've ever been around, and I think that some of the changes on this with the assistant coaches have been really healthy, really good, really positive. Those guys have done a great job this off season. But there's like an art and science to managing to optimize the entire season. But we want to do everything we can to figure out what the best combinations are, and that's Billy's job. And I don't think he can walk into the year with and say this is what it's going to be, because there's been a lot of change in years past. The last couple of years, I mean, we've returned a pretty veteran-laden group. Not as much unknown about those players. Most of the discovery of the team in the past few years has been as a result of injury or absence or things like that. So, Terrence Ferguson becomes Terrence Ferguson because we were missing Dre, and Ferg really sees that opportunity. Hami, what we learned about him last year was a result of Terrence being out, and on down the line. A lot of our development work has been more necessity, and so this year might be a little bit different because there's some spots that are up for grabs and they need to be competed for.
Sam, you had mentioned the mood